Hello, welcome to A Life Without Parole. Today I'm going to be talking about Erin Patterson, an Australian. She's 48 years old and she admitted to lying to cops after three people died following a lunch at her home in Leongatha, Australia. The mother of two invited Gail and Don Patterson, her ex-husband's parents, and Gail's sister, Heather Wilkinson, and her husband, Ian, over for a special luncheon on July 29th. Soon after eating the meal, the guests became violently ill, and Gail and Don, both 70, and Heather, 66, later died. Ian in the hospital fighting for his life since eating the deadly dish Erin served. It has since emerged that Erin Patterson's ex-husband, Simon, who almost died after suffering a mysterious gut illness back in May last year, was also invited to this fancy luncheon. Simon was supposed to go to the lunch, but didn't in fact end up going. This is my second post about this very mysterious case, and I wonder if it could be murder by death cap mushrooms. My previous post was just a 60-second YouTube short. After putting up my post last week, I've been reading responses, and there was one in particular that piqued my interest. I thought I would share it with you all, as well as additional information that has come to light. I'm going to read this quote word for word. I'm in Australia. Latest news that isn't being told here. There was 6 people at the dinner. She, meaning Erin, ate the mushrooms also. She also became sick and presented twice to hospital. She was put on liver protective drugs. Her 2 children didn't like mushrooms, so she scraped the mushrooms off the beef Wellington for them. She bought dried mushrooms from a Chinese grocer 3 months earlier, and she bought some from a supermarket. She used both sorts of mushrooms in this dish. She didn't want to hurt her ex-in-laws or the other 2 people there. One survivor was pastor of their church who was there for mediation to try and reconcile her marriage, which she was trying to do, so there is no motive here. There is no proof that she was responsible for her ex-husband's illness months earlier. That could have been anything, and no toxicology was done. Toxicology is still waiting on those who ate the mushroom beef Wellington meal. There is yet no confirmation that the mushrooms were the cause. She also supplied the investigators with leftovers of the meal for toxicological study. Please give this poor woman a break until facts are available. She doesn't deserve this unfair kangaroo court. The media are shocking here for sensationalizing events to their own end. Okay, that's the end of my quote from Sarah Berry. I have a few things that I want to add in here. There's been a couple of different discrepancies on whether it is Ian or Don who is still alive, the father-in-law or the mother-in-law's brother-in-law. Either way, the person who's still alive hopefully will eventually be able to shed more light on this whole situation. According to reports, the cops said the people who died had symptoms of having eaten death cap mushrooms, and the police have confirmed Erin is being treated as a suspect. An ambulance worker alerted investigators after a conversation with one of the victims shortly before they died. Erin, who denies any wrongdoing, claims she is being painted as an evil witch. She told the Herald Sun she had become a prisoner in her home branding the coverage of the case unfair. Okay, now as to this comment that I received, I have a tiny little suspicion. Well, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Let's just say that. This week, Erin gave a detailed account of her version of events for the first time in a statement to police. This statement has been leaked, and there is speculation that Erin Patterson is the source of this leak. I'm quite interested to see what comments, what leaks, what any of it is actually Erin. Now, I'm not suggesting that Miss Berry is Erin, but I suppose it's possible. I would love to do an interview with Miss Berry. If you would like to, contact me. Her statement to cops has raised many questions. I want to talk about just a few of the questions. Number one, who was actually at this lunch? Let's get to the bottom of this. This is all provable things. The initial report says Erin's two children, who she shares with her ex, Simon, were at the lunch. Questions were raised over why they and Erin did not get ill. But in her statement, Erin said the kids had gone to the cinema before the gathering. Provable things. She claimed her children ate the leftover beef Wellington the following night, but the kids don't like mushrooms, so she scraped them off. This is even not quite right based on her statement, because she claims that they had leftovers that night. Then she says it was the next day. She says she gave police the leftovers. Again, provable. My number two question that I would love answered is, who got sick? Again, this is provable. After confirming 3 people had died, cops said Erin did not get sick. This is completely opposite of what she's claiming. I mean, at different times. Her stories are changing. Obviously, this is a provable claim. This will all come out one way or the other. Because of this, homicide detectives made Erin a person of interest. She is, after all, the person who cooked the meal. And if she really didn't have any symptoms, that's suspicious. The whole thing's suspicious. Speaking earlier this month, Victoria Police Detective Inspector Dean Thomas said, and I'm quoting, "She hasn't presented with any symptoms, but we have to keep an open mind in relation to this, that it could be very innocent, but again, we just don't know at this point. I mean, time will tell." In her police statement this week, Erin claimed she did become ill. You see, I keep on bringing this up, but it's kind of a big factor. She said she was taken by ambulance to the Leongatha Hospital, to the Monash Medical Center in Melbourne on July 31st. So that is the night of after the luncheon. Gippsland Southern Health Services confirmed that a 5th person came to the hospital with suspected food poisoning. Who that 5th person is, time will tell. But I will say this, based on the interview that I'm going to show you in just a minute of her going into her house, she doesn't look ill compared to 3 people who've died and 1 person who's still in the hospital. She seems to be faring pretty well if she did, in fact, eat some of these mushrooms. Okay, my third question that I have, where did the mushrooms come from? Erin initially told cops that she picked up the mushrooms from a local shop. Her neighbor told the Herald Sun that locals didn't forage for wild mushrooms because they know the danger. These are dangerous mushrooms. Erin has since claimed she got the mushrooms from 2 different stores. She claims that she bought button mushrooms from a major supermarket chain near her home. and dried mushrooms from an Asian grocery store in Mount Waverly months before. Despite her claims she bought the mushrooms from shops in the state, here's an interesting fact. Victoria's health department has no health alerts for any mushroom sales. What do you think that means? We can read between the lines. The Asian shops and mushroom growers in the area have also not had any issues reported to them. None of their mushroom products have been recalled. Sounds a little suspicious. Number 4. This is my fourth question. Who broke off the relationship? Friends said Erin organized the lunch in a bid to win her ex back. A source close to Simon, her ex-husband, claimed Erin was desperate to get back with him. She had suggested the lunch was an intervention. The friend says his family were concerned and described the get-together as a mediation. Now remember, the brother-in-law, who was a minister, was going to try to help mediate. Apparently, she wanted to get back with Simon, and the family didn't want Simon to get back with her. I probably wouldn't either if my son had been sick and suspected food poisoning. I'm sure if he realized that his own parents were going to be in the same type of danger that he had been in, he wouldn't have allowed them to go to lunch. You have to wonder if he had gone to lunch that day, would he too be dead right now? This is horrible. Erin's statements keep changing, but her latest statement is that she was the one who ended the relationship. Again, most likely provable. It could be a he said, she said, but I bet there's some text messages that say the answer. Another thing that Erin said was, and I'm going to quote, "I had been close with Simon's parents for a long period of time. Our relationship had continued in a fairly amicable way after I finished the relationship with their son, Simon. Our relationship was affected to some degree by seeing them less after my marriage breakdown with Simon. However, I have never felt differently towards his parents." End of quote. My fifth question that I have: when did Simon decide not to go to the intervention luncheon? Erin invited her estranged husband, Simon, to join his parents for lunch at her place. Simon claims he decided not to go at the last second. But Erin claims Simon had told her prior to the day that he would not be coming. Since Simon was already suspicious of Erin, is that the reason he chose not to go that day? He claims that there were times he had felt a bit off, and it often coincided with when he spent time with her. Simon revealed that he almost died in May last year from a mysterious illness, as we talked about earlier. He said he collapsed at home and was placed into an induced coma. This was not just some little tiny stomach bug. Okay, my sixth question that I have: what happened to the food dehydrator? Erin has given conflicting accounts of what happened to her food dehydrator. Cops immediately seized a food dehydrator believed to have been used to prepare the mushrooms that had been discarded in a landfill. Erin told police she had dumped her food dehydrator a long time ago. But this week, she admitted that was a lie. Erin said she was at the hospital with their kids discussing the food dehydrator when her ex-husband asked, "Is that what you used to poison them?" You can see that he was immediately suspicious of her. Worried she might lose custody of her couple's children, Erin said that she panicked and dumped the food dehydrator. My seventh question. Has Erin been told not to comment to the public? And if so, why does she keep commenting? When first interviewed by cops, Erin responded, "No comment," to their questions. She claims she was terrified and the interview was anxiety-provoking. But now, days later, Erin has claimed she was advised to give a no-comment interview to police immediately after the deaths. She has since given a statement to cops, despite saying she was urged to not give comment. Let me show you a video of her so you can judge for yourself and get a feel for what we're talking about.
I'm so devastated by what's happened, by the loss of Don. Don is still in hospital, the loss of Ian and Heather and Gail, who were some of the best people that I've ever met. Gail was like...
Take your time.
Gail was the mum that I didn't have because my mum passed away 4 years ago. And Gail's never been anything but good and kind to me. And Ian and Heather were some of the best people I've ever met. They never did anything wrong to me, and I'm so devastated about what's happened.
Can you tell us
and the loss to the community and to the families and to my own children who've lost their grandmother.
Can you tell us a bit more about the lunch?
What I can tell you is that I just can't fathom what has happened. I just can't fathom what has happened. That Ian and Heather have lost their lives, and Gail has lost her life, and Donna's still in hospital, and I pray that he pulls through, because my children love him.
And you must be pretty shaken up by this as well.
I'm devastated. I love them. And I can't believe that this has happened, and I'm so sorry that they have lost their lives.
How are you
I
kids?
just can't believe it. Just can't believe it.
Can you tell us where the mushrooms came from? Were they picked from the property area?
I just ask you to leave me alone now, please.
Police say you're a suspect. Do you have anything to say about
Yes,
that?
I say I didn't do anything. I love them. And I'm devastated that they're gone. And I hope with every fibre of my being that Don pulls through. That's
Where
what I
did the
have to
mushrooms
say.
come from? Were they picked by you, or where did they come from, Mary? Can you tell us?
Okay, what do you think? I know I'm trying to do as the viewer said and not have a kangaroo court here, but I will say something smells fishy. That's all I'm going to say. What do you think? Do you think that she's being wrongfully accused, or do you think she might have something to do with it? Comment below and let me know, and I will see you again soon. See ya.